What's up, everybody? It's your boy Boyo, and we're going to really talk about Assassin's Creed Shadows today. I've mentioned it in passing in at least one video that you've already seen on this channel. I don't know if the other one's out yet, but I've danced around it. I've hinted at what's going on with that game, but I haven't really addressed it because it's honestly a game that needs no introduction. For the last 8 or 9 months, people have had a lot to say about this game for many, many, many reasons. If you're out of the loop for any particular reason, whether it's because you live under a rock or you just don't care about Assassin's Creed or you're not a gamer in general, the premise is this. Assassin's Creed is a franchise that is built on recreating historical settings for you to run around in as a stealth-based assassin character. You run around interacting with historical figures, you're chasing down these artifacts in the past so that in the present you can use them to prevent humanity from being enslaved. That's the premise. Each game pretty much will put you in a different setting, you play as a different character, but it's all towards that same goal. This time, Ubisoft is finally delivering on something that we've wanted for a long time, and taking us to feudal Japan. But there's a little bit of a twist this time around. The first time in franchise history, you're actually playing as a person who really existed in history, and that is Yasuke, the only documented black samurai that we know of, as well as a female shinobi named Naoe. And people have had a lot to say about this. A lot. It's being called woke trash. It's being called disrespectful towards Japanese people. It's racist towards Japanese people. It's Japanese erasure. It's history erasure. It's whatever. And I just want to talk about it because there's a picture that I saw that sums up what we've been talking about perfectly. I'll see if I can find it so I can throw it in the video. But it's like Assassin's Creed Shadows discourse in a nutshell. Person A says, I can't believe Ubisoft is disgracing Japanese people and not even letting you play as a Japanese person in this new game. Person B is like, yeah, no, there's a Japanese person that you can play as. Her name is Naoe. And person A says, I don't care. Because suddenly, out of nowhere, all of these people who are not Japanese kind of just spawned in and gave their opinion or weighed in on what they know of Japanese history to let us know that Yasuke wasn't technically a samurai. He was a retainer, he was an armor bearer, he was whatever, because he worked for Oda Nobunaga. And it's become a whole thing because I've seen Japanese people go to bat for Yasuke, showing that in the history that they've consumed, yes, he was a samurai. Or even if he wasn't, why does it matter? Or even if he was, why are we playing as him now? And I'm not here to weigh in on the philosophy regarding why we're playing as a real person for the first time now. I just want to try to talk about some of the points that I've seen be brought up in an effort to discredit this game before it comes out. Right? First of all, the aspect of like Japanese erasure, which is just not true. There's one black person in the game that we've seen. Everyone else is Japanese. Which kind of leads into another thing. People have complained that Ubisoft is putting out a game where you play as a black man who's killing Japanese people. To be honest with you, I don't see why that's a problem from a gameplay perspective. There have been so many games released over the years, at least since I've been playing games, where your character is a certain race and you go around killing people of a different race. Resident Evil 4, you're a white guy killing Spanish people. In Resident Evil 5, you're a white guy killing African people. In Resident Evil 6, you're a white guy killing Chinese people. In Resident Evil 8, you're a white guy killing Romani people who have been mutated into lycanthropes. You know, it's weird, right? In Assassin's Creed Revelations, you're an Italian man who goes to Istanbul and starts killing people. In Assassin's Creed 3, you're a half English, half Native American man who goes around killing white people. In Assassin's Creed 4, you're a white guy who goes around killing Caribbean people, Spanish people, dark-skinned people in general, left and right in that game. It's weird to only take umbrage with that sort of thing now. Far Cry 2 has that problem. Far Cry 3 has that problem for about half of the game. It's just not something that has ever really mattered before. It's totally fine when you're playing, you know, Call of Duty and you're playing as a white guy who goes to Yemen to kill a bunch of people. That's totally fine. But when a black person is placed into Japan and the enemies in that game are Japanese people and you have to kill them, then it becomes about what race you are and what race the people that you're killing are. I don't buy it. I think that that's counterproducctive to having an intelligent conversation about this game in the slightest, you know? And as for whether or not he was a real samurai or whatever, how could that possibly matter for the sake of playing a video game? Assassin's Creed is historical fiction. It's also science fiction. You know, if Ubisoft wants to say that Yasuke was a samurai, how is that any different than them saying that George Washington had help from a Native American assassin to defeat the British? Or saying that Blackbeard was friends with some up-and-coming pirate captain from Wales named Edward Kenway? Or saying that Black Bart was the reincarnation of some angel woman's lover, you know? Or saying that the Pope got beat up by some kid from Firenze. This is historical fiction. We take liberties with historical figures all the time. The only difference is that you're playing as this one. Which this is the second time in franchise history that you've played. No, third time, sorry, in franchise history that you played as a black person. I forgot about Liberation, the PS Vita game. I was referring to Assassin's Creed 4 Freedom Cry, which is the DLC. And then now, this is, I believe, the only one that doesn't have anything to do with slavery, so that's nice. But, yeah, that's the only difference, really, is that you're playing as a historical figure this time, and people don't like that. I hesitate to just call people racist right off the bat for saying things like this, because I think it runs a little deeper than that. I haven't really heard anybody talk about this, because I did also see a tweet that was saying that Ubisoft is so disrespectful to Japanese culture because you, as a player, have the option of going into a religious shrine and, like killing people and, like, destroying the shrine. But it's like, well, you as a player made those decisions. You control the buttons that you press. You know, you can't say that Rockstar Games hates animals because you can kill your horse in Resident Evil, in Red Dead Redemption. You know, that doesn't mean that the company is trying to say something about something because you as a player have agency to do what you want in this open world game. But I really do think that it's because we're in Japan this time. And so many people here in the West have this idealized, dramatized, utopian vision of what Japan is and should be, that anything that deviates from that is unacceptable. we can't talk about the racism and the xenophobia and the work culture that's destroying Japan as a country. We can't talk about the reason why their birth rate is so low. We can only, they gave us anime. They gave us Nintendo and Sony, and they gave us all this cool stuff. They gave us ramen and sushi and fucking karaoke and Toyota, Mitsubishi, Honda, Mazda, Subaru. And so we just have to, go with it, and it's just, I find it odd to have such a strange protection or a sense of protection over a country that's not our own. I don't know why it's so hard for me to speak the longer this video goes on. It comes from, like, yes, the West is obsessed with Japan, right? I mean, half of the characters in Mortal Kombat are ninja, despite it being a Western game made by Western people. We all love the idea of samurai as an aesthetic, of ninja as an aesthetic. That's why the Ninja Gaiden games are so big here. That's why we are so into Platinum games as a whole. Like, just, like, all of that comes together to form a piece of Western culture, is our idolization of Eastern culture, particularly in Japan. But it's not our history to fight over. And I could be completely misremembering. I was only 13 years old when Assassin's Creed 3 came out. But, like, I don't recall anybody freaking out this bad over the fact that when we're in the Revolutionary War, you're playing as a brown guy. It never came up, as far as I can tell. Nobody complained that when you're playing, or that when you're in the Caribbean, you're playing as a white guy. This is not the first time that the character that you play as is not from the place that your character is in. Because I've even seen people say, like, well, the social stealth wouldn't work in this game. You can't blend in a crowd. Why can't you? Why can't you? If Edward could do it in Havana, and Connor can do it in Boston, and Ezio can do it in Constantinople, why can't Yasuke do it in Japan? I was gonna say I don't understand what the difference is, but of course I understand what the difference is. The difference is that Yasuke is black. People are upset because Yasuke is black, and he's in Japan. They want their Assassin's Creed equivalent of Ghost of Tsushima, If you think that you should be playing as a Japanese character in this game instead of an African character, well, I've got news for you. There is one. She's on the box art too. Her name is Naoe. She's a shinobi. As far as, well, why are they having us play as Yasuke instead of a Japanese samurai like Oda Nobunaga? Why can't we be playing as him when he was younger, or some made-up person, or whatever? Well, that remains to be seen. We don't even know what this game is actually about yet. We don't know what the narrative or thematic purpose behind playing as Yasuke is. All we know is that you play as Yasuke. And nobody complained about him being considered a samurai in Nioh when that came out, or in the Yasuke anime when that came out, or in Samurai Showdown when he was featured in that, when those are all also very clearly works of fiction. Assassin's Creed deals with, like, aliens and reincarnation and angels. It's fiction. Like, what more could you need to be convinced that this isn't real? None of this is real. What we're talking about isn't real. They're just pixels on the screen. They're just drawings given form. I don't understand. Like, there's so much real stuff happening, and there are so many real reasons to criticize Ubisoft. I don't like Ubisoft. I don't want to defend Ubisoft. I don't want to defend Assassin's Creed as a franchise. I don't even want to give this game any money. I don't necessarily plan to play it. I'll probably, if it's on Game Pass, I might check it out. $10 a month. But I'm not excited about this game's existence by any means. Yes, Ubisoft is finally giving us the Assassin's Creed Japan that we've been wanting for years, but it's too little too late. We've already got Ghost of Tsushima. That's the perfect Japanese Assassin's Creed game. Just play that. But I don't know, like, nobody had anything to say about that game being historically inaccurate. You know, by having Jin Sakai and other characters in the game use katanas, when katanas didn't exist yet when that game took place. They were actually invented to help get through Mongolian armor. And another thing, nobody complains about being a Japanese guy in that game and cutting up Mongol soldiers left and right. That's the same principle, isn't it? Hey, this guy looks different than the guys he's killing. That's terrible. We can't allow that to happen. This is an outrage. We must do something. Someone must get active. Why is it only when it's Yasuke? I know why, you know why, and they know why. They had to just invent things to be upset about. Like, oh, the water physics don't look as good as the water in Batman Arkham Knight. Or you can't cut through the environment as well as you could in Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance. Yes, that's what I'm upset about. That's why this game is doomed to fail. Not because of the black guy on the cover. I am not a racist. I have listened to Kendrick Lamar before. Like, just say it with your chest, man. Tell us why you're really upset. Because none of what you've heard regarding why this game looks bad or will be bad in relation to Yasuke specifically means anything. In my opinion, the combat doesn't look very fun. And neither does the parkour. We're still stuck in that, like, slightly adjusted Assassin's Creed Origins Ragnarok. That's not what it's called. Origins Valhalla Odyssey era that I wasn't interested in. And I'm still not interested in it just because it's in Japan now. It takes a little bit more than that to impress me. So I think the game just looks bad in general because Assassin's Creed games no longer appeal to me. I don't give a damn about Yasuke. I never have and I never will. I have never said his name so many times before all of this started. Neither have you. Neither have these people. Because the problem is imaginary. It's not real. The conversation being had around it means nothing. Because this game is still going to come out whenever it does, because it keeps getting delayed. It's still going to come out, and it's still going to sell millions of copies, because Twitter is not a real place. Excuse me. I was having an internal struggle there. Twitter is not a real place. The outrage is not real. And it has no impact on the game, if we're being completely honest. I mean, how many people on Twitter told you that, like, Avatar is not culturally relevant, the James Cameron Avatar? Just because it's like, oh, well, you can't remember the main character's name, can you? And then Avatar 2 came out and it made so much money. That just goes to show you that Twitter's not a real place. None of the conversations being had there ever matter or ever will. It means nothing. It's absolutely meaningless. It's just, especially in the last 2 years, it's just racist people giving other racist people a platform. Here's the thing. If you want to play Assassin's Creed Shadows, play it. Don't let these other people convince you that it's going to be a bad game or convince you that you're disrespecting Japanese heritage and culture by playing it. Because there's no reason that we can't give Japanese culture the same treatment that we gave to Nordic culture, or Italian culture, or Caribbean culture, or colonial American culture, and any of the other Assassin's Creed games. I was going to compare it to religion, but I decided I don't want to open that can of worms. Actually, yes, I do. It's the same as how, like, we can mock Jewish people or people who practice Islam or whatever religion a person wants to practice. We can make fun of that. We can adapt media out of it. We can make video games where you kill Greek gods and Norse gods and speculate about, are we going to kill Shinto, Egyptian, Celtic, or Roman gods next? What comes next in this franchise? But the minute that you look at the internal logic of this game and realize, well, that means Jesus is on the table too, that's when everybody freaks out. Starts clutching their pearls. Everything's on the table except for this one thing because I decided that it's precious and needs to be protected. And that's how we're treating Japanese culture for no reason. Let's ask an actual just regular person that lives in Japan what they think. Let's get the general opinion of the only group of people whose opinion would matter in this situation. And that's Japanese people. Because this is their culture we're adapting. What do they think? What does the average layperson in Japan think about this game? Are they interested in it? Do they think it's disrespectful? From what I've seen, they don't seem to. They don't seem to care that much. Oh, I don't know. I felt like I had to get all that off my chest. If you agree or disagree that Yasuke is, as a concept, disgraceful to Japanese history, I don't care. You'll let me know in the comments either way, if that's what you really want to do. But while you're down there, go ahead and leave a like and hit that subscribe button. Because if you agree with me, then chances are I've got some more videos coming down the pipeline that you'll probably like. If you disagree with me, chances are you're going to want to argue with me on every video that I put out forever. I'll take it. I have time. I don't got nothing better to do. So, yeah, that's Yasuke. I still don't know how to end videos. For some reason. I've just been yammering on for 20 minutes. Play Ninja Gaiden 4 when it comes out. If you really want to play as your Japanese guy, play as Ryu Hayabusa in Ninja Gaiden 4. Just play that. I'm sure you'll enjoy it. I was gonna recommend playing Ghost of Yotai, but that's a whole other conversation that I don't really feel like getting into right now. Well, see you later.